A bucket hat is divided into three main parts, which are the tip, the crown, and the brim. The main measurement you're going to need to cut a bucket hat is your round edge circumference. Now to cut the tip, the rounded circumference divided by 6.28. For me, mine is 3.7. On my pattern paper, I'm going to fold it into 4 folds like I want to cut a flare, and I'm going to measure out my 3.7 on this pattern paper, as you can see that I'm doing in the video. Now cut this out, and please always remember to notch the midpoint of your patterns. Now this is the edge or the top of the bucket hat. Now the next we are going on to is to cut out the crown or the middle. Divide the rounded circumference by 2. For me, mine is 11.5, so I'm going to mark out my 11.5 on my pattern paper like this. And the height I want for my crown is 3 inches, so I'm marking out 3 inches. Now I'm going to cut this out, and this is my middle or the crown or the body of the bucket hat. The next is the brim or the flare. Divide the round circumference by 3.142. Mine gave me 7.6. Now this pattern paper is not on fold, so I've measured out my 7.6. Now the height I want for my flare is 3 inches, and I'm marking out my 3 inches, which is the height of the flare. Now on the top here, had half of an inch, which is a sewing allowance to the top, and below here had half of an inch sewing allowance. But I later changed my mind. I want my flare to be 3.5 inches long, so I'm adding 1 inch, which is going to make up for 3.5 inches for my flare and half inches for the sewing allowance. So cut this out, and this is going to make up for the flare or the brim of the bucket hat. So for the tip, I added half of an inch sewing allowance all the way around, and for the middle, I added half of an inch sewing allowance all the way around also, and I cut this on fold. I cut the middle on fold. And for the flare also, I cut it on fold also, and I added half inch sewing allowance at the side, as you can see. So now I'm just going to go ahead to, and I cut the second fabric also exactly the same way. So I have 2 different fabrics now for my reversible bucket hat. Okay, now before you start to sew or join them together, please make sure that you notch your fabrics, notch the midpoint of your fabrics. It's very, very important. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to join the tip to the crown of this bucket hat. I'm going to join the tip and the crown together by half of an inch. And then when you're done with that, please always remember to notch. Very important. And then this is a half inch sewing allowance. That is what is left. So the next thing, now I'm going to turn this out for you to see, and this is what we have. It's already looking beautiful already. Now this is the flare or the brim. So I'm going to be attaching the flare or the brim to the crown, and I'm going to use my safety pin to hold this down first so that it doesn't move around, and then I'm going to stitch this down, stitch the flare and the crown together. Always remember to notch also, very, very important. So this is our bucket hat. This is just a part of it. Now I'm going to close this side. I'm going to close it up. So this is what I have. I've closed it up, and you can see our bucket hat is forming and it's coming in shape already. Okay, guys, please, before you go on, ensure to cross-check your measurement. So for me, mine is 11.5, and you can see I have 11.5 there, so that makes it on point. Very, very on point. And this is a bucket hat. So the next thing, we're going to put this aside, and we're going to stitch together the other fabric. I've told you the first thing to do is to notch the center point of these fabrics first, and then we're going to be going over to join all 3 of them together. So now I have done that, and this is the result. This is what I have. You can see how beautiful this turned out to be. So we have the 2 different materials, two different fabric that we're using for this reversible bucket hat. Okay, please click on the subscribe button if you're here to subscribe to my channel. So now we're just going on to attach and join them together. So we're going to be joining these two together, starting from this joined part. So please make sure that these two are equal, and you can use your safety pin to do this. Make sure that the notch points are facing each other, just like this in the video, and you're going to use your safety pin to secure this down and go to your sewing machine to stitch this down. So leaving like 2 inches there for the turning inside out. So you can see that is where I left to turn this outside. So now we're going to go on to close up that side that we left open for the turning inside out. So we're going to be stitching this down. If you like, you can use the hem gum to hold this down, or you can just go straight to your sewing machine to stitch this down. Whichever way, whichever method you want to use is totally fine. The main thing is to stitch this down neatly and perfectly so that it doesn't really pop out. Okay, so now you can see I've done that. I've stitched this down. You can see how straight and smooth it is. Now to the style lines that you have all round at the brim, I'm just going to come in by 1/2 of an inch round of the cap like that, and you're going to stitch that down. So you can see this is what I have. This is how to do the style lines on the brim of the bucket hat, guys. So tell me how you feel. Tell me what you feel about this bucket hat in the comment section. What are you rocking this with? You can see how beautiful and how perfect this came out to be. So reversible bucket hats having 2 different types of colors. So you can see that you have choices to make regarding this reversible bucket hat. You can decide to rock this color today and rock the other color another day. I love this bucket hat so much. Thank you guys for watching. See you. Bye.